You're now in the pocket with Covell Hudson.
How's it going, Kansas City? How's it going, KC? Today is Tuesday. What is it, May? Yeah, it's May. Tuesday, May 13th. And as far as NFL, as far as our beloved Chiefs, there's not much happening, which is a good thing. Because usually if it's around May and we're getting some news, there's usually there's some kind of interaction.
Trouble down in Texas.
Somebody got in trouble down in Texas or something like that. So, so it is a slow football time for us in the media. I mean, at least because, they're working every day. We have a first-round draft pick that's trying to get on the field. We have, young defensive tackles that are trying to get things going. But we have a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of things happening in the world of sports. And, so we got a list. We're going to talk about the draft, the 2025 NBA draft. And, like everybody knows, the Mavericks got the pick. And we will touch on that. I don't know when yet. I don't know when yet, but we're going to touch on that potential controversy, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, but you tell me a conspiracy, I'm gonna go ahead and dig into it.
But that makes you a conspiracy guy.
That doesn't make me a conspiracy guy. That makes me a interested guy. No, what is it? I can't think of the word exactly, but yeah, it probably makes me a conspiracy guy. But just because you think it's just because you say, all right, if you say, hey, there's a conspiracy about blank, if I look into it, I don't think that makes me a conspiracy guy. I think that makes me a researcher of information.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
I'm one of those. I'm just a researcher of information.
You're just one of those just asking questions guys.
I'm just there it is. If I came knocking on somebody's door, I'd be like, I'm just asking some questions.
Just asking some questions about this random chain of events that
I saw you in a picture with somebody. Like, that doesn't make me a conspiracy guy. That's me trying to debunk. Matter of fact, that's what I do. I try to debunk conspiracies. That's what it is. And then when you get to the end of the conspiracy and it can't be debunked, then it's like, oh, all right, wrap the foil around my head because I am on board. All right, so we will discuss that. We will discuss the NBA playoffs, and I wish I had the button kill Jay's mic while I'm talking about the NBA before he starts talking about LeBron and Ohio.
Hey, you're the one that brought it up this time.
Yeah, this time. But yeah, we have a lot of things happen. We will talk about what does Bill Belichick and Shannon Sharp have in common. And we can touch on that. We have some things to talk about.
Well, one of them had a very interesting Instagram live video, and the other one's got 7 Super Bowl rings. I don't know.
Hey, they're both great football dudes. So, I hate to see great football dudes go out weirdly. But we will get to that. Derek Carr forced to retire. And is that just injury, or is that like, hey, Derek, come on. Come on, we got this young guy here. Come on, really? I'd hate to have to bench you, or we'd hate to have to make it a thing. Let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. So we will discuss that. And, Cowboys traded with the Steelers for Brian Pickens. And I think it's a bad trade for the Cowboys. I think it's a great trade for the Steelers. We will touch on that. The Chiefs super fan, the Wolf guy, the bank robber dude, he got another jail sentence today.
Did you watch that
documentary?
Documentary. I did.
I think I kept falling asleep. It was one of those late,
It was really nice to get. I was looking for me on the sidelines.
Did you see?
I did not see myself, but one of the guys that they interviewed for it, he was one of the guys that used to dress up in like full yellow headdress and paint and all that. He was on one of the Community America spirals. He was in a mural on that. Really great guy. Met him because I had to throw him out of the stadium one time.
The Super Wolf guy?
No, not the Super Wolf guy.
The other guy.
One of the guys that was interviewed in the documentary. He was the guy with the long beard.
Yeah.
I got to be really good friends with him after our initial meeting. So seeing him on there after he passed away a couple
he
years.
passed away.
Yeah, he passed
okay,
away.
That's a bummer.
So it was like, man, that's my buddy. So I enjoyed seeing him on that. But I thought the documentary itself on Casey,
The dude.
yeah, that guy.
Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
I thought that was pretty good. But yeah,
No, yeah, we should get some super fans that are in that area. We should see what they think about it. I'm gonna try to find those guys.
yeah.
They're not hard to find. But yeah, we will touch on that. And yeah, it's like the great tease. You know, like I'm no conspiracy guy, you know, but you know the Royals. Are they going to Are they going to Kansas? Or they're going to stay in Missouri. The Chiefs, when their lease is up, are they moving from Kansas to Missouri? Is it going to be Midtown? Is it going to be the Legends? Is it going to be? They're still talking about it.
Clark Hunt should just come off the wallet and buy Arrowhead Stadium.
Well, they're not going to do that. They don't do that. They're not. It's OPP. No, OPM. Other people's money. That's how a lot of this works.
Buy the stadium, make all the renovations yourself, and then you don't have to worry about moving the team.
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be the ideal thing. But that's what they should do, probably. But they're not going to do that because there's no.
You mean cut into the bottom line? No.
Exactly. There's no incentive.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they moved to KCK because
I'd mind.
I wouldn't, because then the stadium would be right down the street from my house.
Well, see, that's selfish.
Yeah.
See, I'm a historian. I'm of history. It's supposed to be in Missouri. It's just supposed to. Like, you know how many people that got cussed out from being here in like Kansas?
All I'm saying is this, okay?
But you know the people that come here
Yes.
and been cussed out for calling it Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes. Even
Like-
though I live in Kansas City, Kansas.
Well, yeah.
But
That's your own problem.
but you know, you're the one that thinks LeBron is good. Anyway, you know,
Thanks.
Just being down the street from my house, you know, my wife can drop me off during the games, and then I could, you know, just Uber back home and not have to worry about fighting traffic for 2.5 hours. You know, so yes,
it wouldn't just be a quick hop in the jump still.
I'm definitely selfish on this.
Well,
I mean, if they wanted to play my backyard, they could do that too, you know. But you know, so I can watch the game from my living room.
well, like partly I want them to stay in Missouri, and partly I'd hate for you to get that benefit of them just being right down the street and then you being happy about it. That sounds bad, but that's how I feel about it. So I'm hoping it doesn't happen, just so you don't have a convenient.
Well, you know, I can still catch a Monarchs game. I can still catch
A Dave and Buster's game.
Sporting Kansas City game.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
yes, you can.
you know.
See
I
what?
could have gone to the NASCAR race right down. All this stuff is right down the street from my house. So.
What is that Louisiana kitchen out there?
Popeyes?
No, not. Come get you some. You drive me
Jazz?
crazy. Jazz. Yeah, they have some good food. What did I get there?
I have no idea.
Well, all right. So we're gonna get into the meat of this show. Do I want to get right into this
Let's get into it.
potential draft conspiracy?
Get into it.
What makes something a conspiracy?
Well, you have to have an event or the end result.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then the conspiracy is trying to piece together stuff, you know, to say this is how we got there, instead of just saying, hey, this guy got hit by a car. You can say, oh no, see, it was premeditated hit because that car had been speeding all throughout the city and it just so happened to hit this guy. So yeah, it was premeditated. He was murdered. He was murdered.
So that's a conspiracy. Okay,
Yes.
conspiracy.
Okay.
Okay. So and let's talk about the NBA draft. The NBA has a draft. The NFL has a draft as well.
Hold on, I got something for this.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I had to change my tone of voice. Oh yeah, and I never said this. I'm Covell Hudson in the pocket, and
We're too late for introductions.
no. It's
Everybody
happening.
knows who I am.
It's happening.
Everybody knows who I am.
All right, we got Covell Hudson, and everybody knows who that is.
It's on my birth certificate.
You
know who this is.
So yes, a brief history of the draft. The draft in the NBA draft used to be just like the NFL draft, which means the worst teams
Get the first pick.
Get the first pick. But the NBA was like, no, it's too easy for teams to just be bad. So we have to put another scenario in there so you can't, what do they call it, tanking or,
tanking.
So you can't tank. So in 1985, it was the first draft lottery selection thingy rather than, than just the draft. So, let's start here. All right, so Luka Doncic gets traded a few months ago, right? Shook the basketball world. No player in his prime, when he was expecting to come back and sign with the team, had been just traded without, in the middle of the night. That hadn't happened. But what has happened is the Lakers, for the last 50 years, are always going to have a star. You know what I mean?
Magic Johnson.
Kobe.
Kareem. Shaq is a good one.
Shaq in there.
I mean, I wouldn't put him as a Lakers legend.
He's a Lakers legend for sure.
But he played for them for 4 years?
Well, yeah, and he did legendary things. He was there for something. He was something like that. But he's still a Lakers legend. When you're great and you play for the Lakers, and you win a championship, you're in legendary status.
Nah, he wasn't a Lakers legend. He was just renting a house. That's all he was doing.
Well, true, but he did some legendary things.
Without
him there, they don't win those championships. Well, Kobe won with Powell, but it's not the point.
Yeah.
So Luka got traded to the Lakers, and the only team that was offered a shot that even knew Luka was available was the Lakers. So and it is known that if the Knicks are good and the Lakers are good, the NBA is good because those are the two biggest markets, right? So Luka gets traded to the Lakers. So now the Lakers are good for the next 8 to 10 years. And the Mavs, everybody hates the Mavs now. Every fan hates.
They hate the Mavs ownership.
There's people talking about boycotting. There's people saying we're not going to go to the games. Then you got to see oft injured Anthony Davis or whatever. And so I thought it was weird when he got traded because, the Dallas Mavericks was supposed to just be bad for a while because, you don't recover from doing that type of thing. So, and then you go into the draft, what chances did they have?
1.8%.
1.8% is what the Mavericks had. That's the chance that they had to get the number one draft pick. They were at 11. And they moved from 11 to number one. And,
I got better odds of getting hit by lightning on my way. In a basement. On my way to buy a lottery ticket that's a winner. I got better odds of that happening.
Yes. So 1.8%. But then you say, well, Covell, where does the conspiracy come in?
I was going to ask that. Covell, where does the conspiracy come in?
The conspiracy comes in because this is not the first example of a ideal situation when the odds are low, if that makes sense. You want to know some other examples?
Yes.
Okay.
Hit me.
All right. I was gonna go from. I'll go from this year. Where's my next one? Yeah. Victor Wembanyama. He got drafted by the Spurs. The Spurs were tied with the Rockets and the Pistons in 2023 for the chances to get the number one draft pick. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like for the whole leading up to the draft, everybody just assumed the Spurs and Popovich was going to get Wemby because he was from, where's he from again? Not Europe. I believe. But the same place like Manu Ginobili came from, and he's and Eric Parker. Tony Parker. So
how is it that I don't follow basketball, but I know.
Everybody knows the Tony Parker. He's a home wrecker. But that's why you know him. What was I talking about? Okay. Spurs land Victor Wembanyama. Popovich, Kawhi Leonard left a few years ago. The team was bad. So they're like, the Spurs need to be good again. So it felt like he got gifted. But it wasn't a 1.8% chance. Yeah, they had the same odds as the Rockets and the Pistons. So, but still, that's kind of fishy.
What were the odds?
I don't have the numbers. I just know they had the same odds as the Rockets and the Pistons, which is what do they say? It's 14%. So 14%. It's so just.
I wouldn't call that too much of a conspiracy because
that's fair enough. No, it's fair. That's not a conspiracy, but then you say, okay, has it happened again? You know what I mean? Has it happened again?
Has it happened again?
Okay, let's see. Where's my next one here? Should have put them in order, but I didn't. All right. 2019, what happened to the Pelicans? Do you remember?
Well,
yeah, you're not. Anthony Davis asked to be traded, and he went to the Lakers. Huh? The Lakers, huh? The Lakers that always has to have a great player. But Anthony Davis went to the Lakers. He wanted out of the Pelicans. And the Pelicans got the number 1 draft pick, and they were able to draft Zion Williamson. You want to know what the percentage, the odds were?
Hit me.
6%. 6% chance of the Pelicans getting the number 1 overall draft pick. But they got it.
But then when you look at what happened to Zion, he hasn't really,
Well, they don't guarantee. Yeah, it's no guarantee. It's no guarantee.
But I want to see some return on my investment. I want to see, somebody gifted the number 1 draft pick.
You see how many jerseys they sold? You see how many people were buying those tickets? Oh, he paid off. He didn't get him a championship, not a whole bunch of playoff success, but he sold. What he was able to do was sell a dream. Hey, you see that guy? He's going to take us to the promised land, and that's all the fan base needs. That's all the fan base needs. That's what the Saints. Never mind. I was about to throw some shrapnel at Derek Carr. I'm not throwing any shrapnel. But yeah, so they got their money's worth, but the idea was there. Where's my next one? 2016. You remember what was happening with the 76ers? They were tanking. What the process is what they called it.
The process.
They were bad. They were
They won like what, 14 games that year?
Yeah, probably worse than that. It was pretty rough. But like a couple weeks before the draft, Mutombo said congratulations to the 76ers for getting the number 1 for winning the draft lottery. But that was a couple weeks before it actually happened. So that made a lot of people speculate and say, does he know something? Does, is there something iffy going on behind the scenes? And to be fair, I don't think they'd tell Mutombo. unless he, they were doing it on some signal chat and it got leaked. Unless it got leaked or so. I don't think they're having a top secret meeting and then say, hey, let's call Mutombo. But it still fueled speculation. And what were the 76ers odds were?
That had to be double digits.
They had the highest odds. Yeah, they had the highest odds. But they ended up getting Simmons. All right, where's my next one? I did a lot of research here. All right, 2014. LeBron came back to the Cavs, but they didn't have much. They weren't a real good team. They didn't have much in the cupboard. They had Kyrie Irving and some dudes, and they had a 1.7% chance of getting the number 1 draft pick. And guess what happened?
They got the number 2 draft pick.
They got the number 1 draft pick.
I was close.
They got the number 1 draft pick, and they drafted Wiggins. They actually traded him. He never played for the Cavs. They traded him for Kevin Love. But that was a piece that LeBron needed in Cleveland. So, the NBA takes care of their stars, and they want their stars to have good teammates and stuff like that. So, So yeah, that's 5 examples there, and there's no for sure conspiracy. But
I see the pattern.
you see the pattern.
Yeah, a star moves. That team gets, got to replace him. Put a rookie in there. Yeah, let's do that. I'm starting to think that
that there's some smoke. If there's smoke, there's fire. That there's some fire with. Forget it.
Yeah.
All right. Where's this one? 2012, and a lot of people remember 2012 was the year that Chris Paul was supposed to be traded to the Lakers. It was a done deal. And Lamar Odom was supposed to go to the Hornets, which he was not happy about. He hasn't been the same guy since then. But the NBA nixed that because they didn't have an owner. So they were basically owned by the NBA. So the Hornets got the number 1 draft pick.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. And once again, I'm no conspiracy guy. I'm just reporting the news. You know what I mean? I'm just reporting what has happened. So this is 2012. And that's when they drafted Anthony Davis. So it seems like it is like from a business, from an owner standpoint, it seems like it makes sense to say, hey, let's put this guy here. Let's make sure this happens here. Let's make sure it makes sense. But as a fan, it shouldn't be that way. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. My next one, 2011. 2011, if you remember, LeBron left the Cavaliers and went to the Heat, formed the Heatles, as they're called.
Nobody called them that.
A lot of people call them the Heatles.
I'd never heard that term before in my life until today.
You don't watch basketball.
But I got my ear to the ground. I hear a lot of stuff.
You got your ears to the streets? Is that what you're saying?
Never heard anybody refer to LeBron and Dwayne and Chris as the Heatles.
They're definitely the Heatles.
I'd
you
never
talk to
heard
any you watch any show where they're talking about that Miami Heat team, and somebody's going to call them the Heatles. 20%, 25% chance. All right. So the Heatles, when he left to form the Heatles, now I gotta say it. The Cavs got the number 1 pick. And they were tied with Minnesota for the odds, but if there's any kind of closeness, it seems like they're gonna go to that team that seems like it would benefit the most, which is Cleveland. All right, where's my next date here? Oh, well, yeah, easy one. 2003, LeBron James gets picked by his hometown Cleveland
Cavaliers.
Cleveland Cavaliers, and they had even odds to win it with Nuggets, which is about 15% apiece, or something like that. Those numbers probably aren't right, but they had the same odds. They had the same odds there. So, and you know what? There was a conversation of LeBron. They were asking him about the draft or something, and he said he didn't say it was a conspiracy. Man, I'm gonna see if I can find this clip during break, because he basically said, I'm from Ohio. I'll get drafted by Cleveland. Who else did he mention? Derrick Rose got drafted by his hometown, Chicago. He's on the list. But we will go on break here. We're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we're gonna come back with finish talking about LeBron James. And does this make for conspiracy or not conspiracy? Back after this. We are back in the pocket. 810 WHB, Sports Radio 810. 810. I just butchered that.
Yeah, you did. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We're back in the pocket. This is Covell Hudson, Sports Radio 810 WHB. There it is. And we are talking about conspiracy, the draft conspiracy. And once again, I don't subscribe to this conspiracy. I didn't make it up. I didn't say, hey, there's a conspiracy. I said, hey, there may be some smoke where there's fire. So I believe we found that audio of LeBron James on the Pat McAfee show.
Listen, man, during the ball drop, during the lottery drop, Cleveland got the #1 pick. I just don't think that was. What a coincidence!
Don't you think?
Wemby with the Spurs.
Oh my God! Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. I understand the assignment, guys. I had to make sure that, I had to do my part.
So there you have it. Once again, this isn't my conspiracy, but there's definitely enough smoke here. Would you say, Jay?
All that proves to me is that even LeBron didn't want to play in Ohio.
Even LeBron didn't. He was thinking about the Knicks. Who else was bad at that time?
Like
anybody else?
Yeah, Miami,
Lakers. He wish he would have got that one. So yeah. 2003, LeBron goes to his hometown. And you know who notices that? LeBron. So, yes, that's 2003. All right, 2008, hometown Bulls. They win the lottery. They go from 8th to 1st. They had a 1.7% chance. So like a lot of this just can't be tossed up to luck or whatever. Let's go to 1993. A year after Shaq was drafted by the Magic and he finished 7th in MVP voting, they're like, hey, this guy's the future of the league. He's going to be a future face. He's got the talent. He needs more help.
Shaq don't need no help.
Hey, yeah, you let him tell it. Them knees need help. All right, I'm not Charles, so I can't. I'm not Barkley, so I can't get on Shaq. But yeah, Magic won the lottery the year after Shaq, and they ended up drafting Chris Webber, but they traded him, and then they ended up with Tim Hardaway. What do you think their odds were to get the #1 draft pick?
Less than 5.
1.5%.
That was right.
1.5%. 1988. Danny Manning. So, back in the day, there wasn't all this social media and stuff, right? And back in the day, the draft, when they found out who had the draft position, they did the draft that night, right? That's how they did it in 88. So, Danny Manning was drafted #1 overall by the Clippers. And you know what made people raise their eyebrows?
That the Clippers were a real team?
Well, no. That people still questioning that. Thanks, Kawhi. But Danny Manning, when he went up to accept that he had been drafted and they took pictures, he had a custom Danny Manning jersey. They're like, so if they didn't know who was going to win, how would the Clippers already have a Danny Manning jersey out of KU?
That's one of the things that everybody does now. As soon as you get up there, they make you jersey and got the #1 on it.
But he wasn't the guaranteed #1 pick, though. Like, he wasn't the consensus #1 guy. So that's what makes it iffy. Like, how did you even know you were going to get that pick to be able to draft him, to be able to give him that jersey? It's just another questionable move. And then let's go to 1985, the first draft lottery.
How far are we going back?
Man,
good Lord.
If somebody tells you there's a conspiracy, you have to unstone every – man, I am butchering all mine. You have to turn every stone. So the first draft lottery was 1985. And the Knicks, once again, if the Knicks and the Lakers are doing good, the NBA is good, doesn't matter what's happening. So Patrick Ewing's from New York. And you want to, and they didn't have the ping pong balls. You know how they did it? They did it with envelopes. And you know what the conspiracy is?
That the envelopes were frozen.
Frozen envelope.
See, I've heard about that one before.
Yes. And once again, if it was just that, you'd say, hey, you're crazy. If it was just LeBron going to Cleveland, you'd say, hey, you're crazy. If it was just Derrick Rose, you know what I mean? You can't. Yeah, like if you're in a relationship and you catch your partner cheating 10 or 15 times, probably gonna do it again. You know what I mean? Would you agree?
Who lets their woman cheat that many times?
That's not the point. I'm just saying we have about 15 examples of conspiracy with the
dating
NBA.
back 30, 40 years.
Dating back 40 years.
Yeah.
And almost every other year there is some iffiness. And there's some that I didn't even mention on here. The Cavs won the number one, they won the lottery 4 times in 12 years. Like the odds when it comes to the lottery don't make sense. They're fake odds, it seems like. Because, yeah, it shouldn't happen that way. It shouldn't happen that way. And what do I have here? I've spent enough time talking about the conspiracy, and I'm not trying to prove it or disprove it. I'm just giving the information. This is the research. This is the information. Like if you hired me as a private investigator, I'm not going to tell you what's happening. Here's what I got. Here's the pictures, and here's my notes. So, Jay, let's talk about the 2025 draft and talk about the winners and losers. You want to do it before break or after break?
How long is it going to take?
Only the Lord knows. It's God's plan, Jay.
Well, you know more about this than I do, so you just.
All right, let's do it. We got a little bit. We got time.
All right.
I think. If not, we'll go to break. All right. So the draft from 1 to 12 is the Mavs number 1, the Spurs number 2, the 76ers number 3, the Hornets 4, the Jazz 5, the Wizards 6, the Nets 7. That's not right. That doesn't feel right. Hold on. Draft order 2025. There. I think I got 6 and 7 wrong. But anyways, let's do the top 5. Mavs, Spurs, 76ers, Hornets, Jazz. Who are the winners and losers? So I say Nico Harrison and the Mavs, they won. But I think they won in the short term. Because the Mavs have this stink on them for trading their superstar that didn't want to leave. So the fans are not happy with them. So at least for the next few months, Nico Harrison and the ownership of the Mavs will be able to sleep easy. Who else is another winner of the draft? The Spurs. Go back and think about 1993 with Shaq with the Magic. He came into the league. He was going to be the face of the league. He was a good player. And what is the conspiracy? That guy needs more help. So the Spurs get the second pick in this year's draft. And they had they were 7th best odds to get it, and they ended up getting number 2. Another winner is the 76ers. How many high draft picks are they going to get? They should almost be disqualified from getting lottery picks because it's just kind of crazy. You know, going into this last year, you had Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey. That on paper that seems like that's a pretty dominant team, but they didn't play more than 200 minutes together, all 3 of them. Embiid's a diva. Paul George is known for stealing money for the last 10 years.
And named after 2 Beatles.
2 Beatles? Is that what we've heard, or is that you just pointing out a fact?
I just said that.
Okay, I'm about to say that's all right. That's odd. All right, but losers of the draft, the tanking kings. Like, imagine if you had a team and you're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna strip all these assets. We're gonna let young guys and some scrubby veterans play, so we can get a top draft pick, and it doesn't work.
They've got that team in the NFL right now.
What team is that?
The Carolina Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the
that's
Raiders. Yeah.
Well, but see, it's different. The NBA has a lottery that's supposed to work toward the bad team, and the only reason there's a lottery because they don't. Yeah, once again, they don't want teams to tank. But the Utah Jazz were 17-65 this year, and they get the 5th pick, just outside of the lottery. The Wizards were 18-64. They get the 6th pick. And the Hornets were 17-93. 4th pick. So just because you were bad, hopefully another year, because they're not going to get any better, which is kind of sad. And I'll say another loser in the draft this year is potentially Cooper Flagg, because he is the consensus number 1 player in college basketball. And if he gets drafted by the Mavericks, what do you think is going to happen to him for his whole career?
He's going to get compared to Duke Elanchi.
Yes.
So, but when it comes to Cooper Flagg and anybody else who does those one-and-done deals in college, you haven't proven anything to me in one season.
You haven't, yeah.
You know, so all of those one-and-done guys, I hope they go to the NBA and flame out.
Well, so I don't know if I'd say flame out. I'd like for them to have more years under their belt before they get to the league. I'd like them to go into the league as men.
I'm saying if they go after 1 year in college, and
but some guys should go. Like LeBron had no business going to college ever, but most guys need to go to college. Would you agree with that? Well, no, you hate LeBron, so yeah.
I mean, Kobe got drafted right out of high school.
Well, yeah, and he talks about it. His first playoff series when he was airballing, he was like, I wasn't conditioned enough. I wasn't ready. I didn't have an NBA body. And that's usually what happens to fellas.
Yeah, Kobe was man needed a sandwich.
Well, and that's what, but that's why Kobe gets a lot of credit, because he has a lot of normal guy genes, regular genes. You know what I mean? He just had the dog and the work ethic to make himself special, if that makes sense. But, yeah, if Cooper Flagg was to get drafted by the Mavericks, and even if he's good, he's not going to be as good as Luka Doncic. And, I mean, I guess I don't know that for sure, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Luka. And that's just going to be a dark cloud over his whole career. So, and he's a potential winner because they need something now. But, yeah, if he gets drafted, his running mates is a 32-year-old Anthony Davis who gets hurt. And who else do they have? Like a 34-year-old Kyrie Irving. So, yeah, that's it on the draft. But are the phones open?
They've been open.
They've been open? I have X's over here.
Oh, yeah. Now they're open.
Professional. Dang, what was I talking about?
See? Professional.
See, yeah. The karma threw off my, what was I talking about just now, Jay?
Do you want me to rewind it?
Yeah.
No.
What was I talking about? Oh, well, that is the draft coverage on this show. But conspiracy, is it a conspiracy? Is it not a conspiracy? Look into it. Gather your own information. Because I'm not Alex Jones here. I'm just saying, hey, this is what
You got more money than Alex Jones, though.
Yeah, probably. I have more friends than him, probably, too. It probably seems like a lonely life to be, But, yeah, when we come back, we will discuss the NBA playoffs real quick. And then top of the hour, we are going to get to this stuff that's happening in the NFL. And I can't wait to get to Bill Belichick and Shannon Sharp. Mainly Bill Belichick. We'll be back after this. We are back in that thing, Sports Radio 810 WHB. It is a Tuesday, May 13th. I graduated May 13th, 2008, Jay.
Youngin'.
Yes. It makes me feel old. What is it, like 18 years? Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Quick recap of the NBA playoffs going on right now. Let's talk about the East. We have the Pacers, 4 seed, over the Cavs, 3-1, who is the 1 seed. Cavs aren't healthy enough. Seems like they're never really healthy enough.
I mean, you have to be something has to be wrong when you're down by 41 at the half.
Well, the Pacers are a deeper team. The Cavs have a few young guys. They have Darius Garland. They have Donovan Mitchell, and they have
The ghost of Reggie Miller.
no, not the Cavs, but the Pacers. They have the
I was talking about the Pacers.
No, the Pacers have the ghost of Reggie Miller just hovering around. He's still here though.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, the presence to not
The essence.
the essence of Reggie Miller. Yeah, there's not enough help for Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, LeBron's got some free time on his hands. Maybe he can go back to Cleveland for a couple games.
I think he's chilling in L.A. He's like, yeah, we probably won't win the championship, but L.A.'s L.A. I personally don't like the Dirty City, but it's cool, I suppose. Halliburton, Obi Toppin, and Miles Turner is the big.
Obi Toppin?
Obi Toppin is a cool name.
That sounds like somebody's rap name.
It does sound like somebody's rap name, but no, yes, that big three. Miles Turner's hitting threes. He's a 7-footer. He's hitting from all over the court. Obi Toppin is hitting mid range and he's driving to the basket. Halliburton is being the do it all point guard. And yeah, Donovan Mitchell has an ankle injury, so I don't think he's going to play in the next game, which is tonight, I think. So, yeah, I don't believe they have a chance to come back and win that series. So, yeah, Pacers 4 seed over the Cavs 1 seed. Knicks are leading 3-1 over the Celtics. The Knicks are the 3 seed, and the Celtics are the 2 seed. Brunson is a star. Dallas, that's another mistake of Dallas, which is letting an all-star get away, letting a winner get away. But I could understand Brunson and Luka, they both should have the ball in their hand, so it makes sense a little bit. But Brunson, Cat, and Bridges, that seems to be the big 3. The Knicks are pretty solid. And what's his name? Jason Tatum, the Michael B. Jordan of the NBA.
Jason Tatum. He
ruptured his Achilles, and that's unfortunate. But they were down by, I believe, 13 with Tatum in the game. And they were down 3-1 with Tatum in the game, and he's got a lot of flack. So seems like they were going to lose with him, but I believe they're most likely going to lose without him, even though the Celtics are 8-2 this year without Tatum. And, yeah, Celtics aren't getting enough from role players. Last year, Derek White played great. Last year, Drew Holiday played great, but they're playing like older guys. And they're not looking as hungry as last year. So the Knicks lead 3-1 over the Celtics. I expect the Knicks to take care of business. Well, yep, I just see it on the TV. Pacers won 114-105. Indianapolis wins series 4-1. So that's over. Let's go to the West. The Timberwolves are leading the Warriors 3-1. Timberwolves 6 seed. The Warriors are the 7 seed.
Remember last week whenever I said Golden State doesn't have the depth?
Well, yes, they didn't have the depth, but they had all the experience.
And now Steph Curry's out with that hamstring, so they got nothing.
They have nothing.
Well,
they have playoff Jimmy, but I have here playoff Jimmy missing. Yeah, he's not putting up great numbers. Usually his numbers go up. This year with the Warriors, his number has gone down. So, yeah, without Curry, they got Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, who is the closest thing to Michael Jordan we've seen in a while. Julius Randle, he's been an all-star in this league for a long time. It's just too much. And they have Rudy Gobert, they have size. So I'm expecting the Timberwolves to take care of the old Warriors here in the next game. And So the only tough series right now is Thunder versus Nuggets. They're tied 2-2. It's essentially Jokic versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But the Thunder are a better team. So, yeah, OKC is younger, faster, deeper, and more hungry. So I am expecting the Thunder to go ahead and take care of business. You got anything else on NBA?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
I have something here. Hold on. Nope, I already went over that. But yeah, what it does seem to me, if the Nuggets lose, if the Warriors lose, if the Celtics lose, then that guarantees a new team will win the championship, the NBA championship, which is the Pacers, the Knicks, the Wolves, or the Thunder. So that is good for the parity angle in the NBA. It just means it's definitely a changing of the guard. The older guys aren't going to dominate the playoffs and be on top of the world this year. So I'm hoping the NBA does a better job of marketing young players and players in different markets because, the NBA still tries to follow all the old guys, Curry, LeBron, and talk about them so much. So, yeah, let's let Ant-Man be the face of the league. Let's let Brunson be the face of the league, or maybe Halliburton. So, yeah, a lot of guys are going to be, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So a lot of guys are going to be submitting their own name into the history book. So that will be interesting.
Well, we got a couple of minutes till break, so.
You want to get some LeBron hate in?
Do we have time?
Who's your favorite player in the NBA, Jay?
All time?
All time.
This is gonna crack you up. It's gonna crack you up.
Pistol Pete?
No.
Tiny Archibald?
No.
All right, who?
Well, Tim Duncan is my absolute favorite player.
Okay.
But
it's boring, but he's a good he's a great player.
Back in the early 90s.
All right, give me hints. We got time. Give me hints to your best favorite player. Early 90s.
Grandmama.
Grandmama.
Yeah, Grandmama.
Granny shot?
No.
All right, need another hint.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Clyde Drexler?
Nope.
Charlotte. Grandmama. Old Michael Jordan running the Hornets?
No.
All right, another hint.
Played with Muggsy.
Played with Muggsy Bogues. Oh, man, I don't have time to look it up. Muggsy Bogues. All right, I need another hint. Am I getting – no, I'm not even warm.
You're still cold.
What position?
I think he was a point guard.
Who's a great point? Andre Miller?
No.
All right, all right. Give me an obvious hint. 'Cause I'm doing bad. I'm freezing over here.
Also played for the Knicks.
Knicks be picking up old dudes when they're done, so I don't know that.
Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson. Just for his grandmama thing.
That was his nickname?
Yeah. Well, he also did a.
Oh, that's a slow dude.
Yeah. No. Well, no. He did a series of commercials where he was dressed up like a grandma.
Oh, really?
And he was playing one-on-one with his grandmama.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Was he a good player?
He was all right.
Emphasis on the G in there. All right. All right.
Yeah, he's all right. But no, he was just really, really fun to watch. In the rare moments that I actually could watch a Charlotte Hornets basketball game in my house, because it was either that or NASCAR or soap operas, because I live with a bunch of.
So when I ask you best player in NBA history, your first guy is Larry Williams?
No, you asked who my favorite player.
Okay. Okay,
so
all right.
Favorite player of all time is Tim Duncan.
Okay, favorite player of all time, Tim Duncan. All right. Man, it's boring watching his highlights, but they're good. It's like surgical. It's like, oh, okay.
Who, Tim Duncan?
Yeah.
Yeah, those videos of him holding up 5 NBA championship trophies never gets old.
I mean, well, yeah, but man, just try to go back and watch some of them games.
Well, I mean, he was tall, he was slow, and he was paired with David Robinson. All right, we're not talking, we're not talking a 40-yard dash.
It wasn't Showtime.
No,
it wasn't Showtime.
no.
But he got the job done.
It's gonna be on time. That's what it was. But yeah.
All right. Well, my favorite player, the best player, is LeBron James, and I think if LeBron James isn't your best player, then you got to stop living in the 90s, all right?
All right.
Michael Jordan retired in the middle of a season, let his team down. He was forced to retire for a few years. He went and played baseball. All these guys talking about, we want you to be all in. We want you to be focused on basketball. And he didn't know his kids growing up. That's a low blow, but it's still a blow. It's still there.
I'm pretty sure they're crying all the way to the bank. So,
well, they probably would have wanted some more hugs. They probably got the shoes.
I don't know. You could. I can forgive a lot for a couple $100 million. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of unhappy rich people.
I would not be one of them. I'd be the happiest rich guy you ever met. Hey, how you doing? You got a job? No, but I got $100 million in the bank. We're gonna be all right.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. We'll see you at the top of the hour, and let's talk about some Bill Belichick when we get back. We'll be back after this. You are listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB, and you are back in the pocket. I am Covell Hudson, and we are going to talk about Bill Belichick. And I said earlier, what did Bill Belichick and Shannon Sharpe have in common? They're both pawpaw age, and they both are talking to young ladies.
Some of them doing a little bit more with young ladies.
Some of them doing
on Instagram Live. Looking at you, Unc.
Yeah. You know, like, I'm 35. But
you don't look 35.
Well, thank you. Oh, was that a compliment or?
However you want to take it.
How old do I look? Younger or older?
That's all I'm saying. You do not look 35.
Younger or older?
That you do not look 35.
All right. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Black don't crack. But so when you become successful and you have money and you get older, you have a choice. Do I want to settle down, find me a good old gal, and, take it easy, go take trips, and somebody on the same plane as you?
You're looking directly at me, knowing damn well I've been divorced.
What you mean?
I'm on my second marriage, and you ever talk about some settle down and take trips and find some. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not married. I'm not. I'm not doing daytime television, so that's not what I'm saying. Well, I'm just saying though, and yes, relationships and marriages with people your own age, they don't always work. That is fair, but.
My first marriage was me and my ex-wife were the same age and it didn't work out. I married a woman 12 years younger than me. We are perfect.
Well, 12 years is not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
That's not what that. So I think Shannon Sharp is 57 and he was messing with a 19-year-old.
Good law.
And
go directly to jail.
See, I wouldn't say jail. See, we don't have time to. I wouldn't say jail. It's just you should be a mentor at this age. You should be a mentor. You should be try to help guide through life, not, other stuff. But Bill Belichick is 73 years old, and his girlfriend is 19 or 20. And I guess
she's like 23 years old. Like my oldest son just turned 21.
Yeah, so it'd be odd if
he called me up tomorrow and be like, Dad, I got a girlfriend. That's great. Tell me about her. Well, she's in her 70s and she's got money.
Well, it doesn't usually happen that way around. It doesn't usually work the other way. Yeah.
I'm like, my first question is, why are you gonna be messing around with the old ladies? You already have an Xbox.
Oh boy. I ain't even touching it. I won't touch it with a 20-foot pole, Jay. I won't do it.
I can't believe I said that, man. I put myself in timeout.
There's enough nuance to where you can't. So no, it's good. But yes. So I don't think it should be against the law. I don't think they should go to jail. But I think it's fair to be labeled as kind of a creepy thing to be doing. From a fella that has 3 daughters, I'd like for Professor or a Hall of Fame coach or a Hall of Fame player was to meet them, that they would probably help guide them in life, not, try to make them their girlfriend. But anyway, so the Bill Belichick situation on the surface seems weird. 73. And I think, was she 21 now or something like that?
23. I mean, at that point, do you really consider it a midlife crisis?
Well, yeah, he's probably bought a motorcycle, too. Probably bought a motorcycle.
I think I'm going to use some of this money and go buy another Corvette. Yeah.
But, so yeah, his lady, what's his name? Wow, I forgot the guy's name. I've been reading the story.
Bill Belichick?
No, the guy who did the Torres. He did Pablo Torres. Is that his name?
Who?
Hold on.
I
have the tab open and it's not here. There it is.
This week on Covell Can Internet.
Hey, I'm like an old man, all right?
Which is why I said, you don't look 35.
All right, well, Bill Belichick. Well, let's talk about who Bill Belichick is. He's probably the most accomplished coach in the NFL. He is the most winningest. He has the most Super Bowls. He's the most stoic. So he built a reputation over this time, would you say? Of being a no-nonsense, a winner, a good decision maker. But, he retires from, he left the NFL. I don't think he retired. He
hasn't retired from he left because it turns out he can't win without assistant quarterback.
Well, okay, that's too heavy there, Jay.
I'm just spitting truth.
See,
here.
I don't think it is that he can't win without Tom Brady. I think it is more all the GMs in the league, for the most part, are young guys. A lot of the owners are young guys. So imagine taking over a team, and then they're like, hey, it's my vision. I get to make this work. And then you have Belichick come in. You wouldn't be able to tell him anything. You wouldn't be able to say, hey.
But, I mean, Bill Belichick has a lot more around him other than, I have 7 Super Bowl rings, and I made Tom Brady the awesome Hall of Famer that he is. No, I mean, he's got more than 7 Super Bowls. I think he's got like a total of 10.
Yeah, as a coordinator.
So, yeah, if he hits you with both fists, you're going to have a lot of diamonds in your forehead. But there's also the cheating scandals and the video.
Okay, well yes, there is.
And if I'm a GM, okay, I want to have legendary coach Bill Belichick on my team, but I don't want Bill Belichick not knowing that you can't film your opponent.
I think it's a win by any means necessary. So
then why was all the stuff that he got caught doing illegal?
Well,
I mean, he was taping the Browns. He was taping the Browns practice. Like,
he was committed.
It's the Browns.
Was it the White Sox that had that cheating scandal?
No, that was the Astros.
I'm sure they were looking at the Royals. No, they probably wasn't looking at the Royals. But they were looking at everybody. They were cheating on everybody. And the thing is, they say everybody was doing it. But he was doing it in a, hey, I'm Bill Belichick way. So I think
it was still illegal.
Well, yeah, but like college coaches, talk to college coaches about recruiting legally. You go to some of those Power 5 or
you're one of those guys. It's not cheating if you don't get caught.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what Bill Belichick is.
And Bill Belichick got caught.
Well, yes, but I don't think that's what kept. I don't think that kept him from getting jobs. I think it's more Bill Belichick. He has a big personality. He wants to be
big personality. I'm sorry. Bill Belichick and personality do not.
He has a big presence.
Yeah.
So if you bring him in, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do.
But he's got he's got the mannerisms of a wet towel. He loses the game. What are you going to? We're on to Cleveland.
Well, and
it's like, well, you have to talk about why. Yeah, but we're on to Cleveland, so we can videotape him. It's.
But if he didn't win, he'd be Matt Patricia, or he'd be Nagy. But he won, so he's Belichick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he won.
That's fine if you're winning, and yeah, once again, I don't think it was those teams were saying, hey, you have some cheating scandal, so we're not going to hire you. I think it was more.
He wanted complete and total control. And GMs these days aren't going to do that.
Yes. So he went.
I'm not going to risk my job just so you can do my job. That's just not what it is. So, but the thing is Shannon Sharp and Bill Belichick got some questionably aged partners. I'm glad that somebody, you found somebody to be with, but it's the Belichick thing has just gotten out of control because it seems like the missus in his life is she his girlfriend or is she his personal assistant / HR representative / promotions director?
She is operating as if she's been here the last 55 years helping him build this legacy. But the thing is, Bill Belichick has given her carte blanche. So Pablo Torres, he was saying there's a real chance Bill Belichick doesn't coach a game at USC because there's been family members, there's been people around UNC, there's been people at CBS, ESPN that says she has been difficult to deal with. And Belichick has basically said, you don't have to hear about it. That's her.
I can't control it. My wife is supportive of me, but she's not going to sit there and tell me how to do my job. Like, I've said a lot of outlandish stuff on the air in my years in radio. And the only thing that she does is when she hears it, I get the 3 dots on my phone and eye roll emoji. That is it. That is it. You can't talk about that. You can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I can't, why are we going to, you can't say that. And so it's like, okay, fine. I'm just waiting for the Bill Belichick only wears what she wants him to wear. You know, I can't wait till she starts calling plays during games. I can't wait until she starts. They give her 5 minutes at the press conference.
Well, see, but that is what she is. Do you remember that Super Bowl commercial that she was in? You probably don't remember it, but she was in a Super Bowl commercial with, who was the player? I forgot who it was. But it was a Super Bowl commercial. She wasn't in the script. She wasn't in the plan. She forced her way into that commercial.
Oh, no, honey, you got to go.
No, she forced herself in that. I guess she got, when Bill Belichick's son got hired, she sent an email to the administration, or what do you call it?
The team?
To the team, but the school. The faculty. She sent an email to the faculty basically saying, don't treat this like not a DEI, but don't treat this like he just got hired because he was his son. He earned this and he earned that, so she don't want any talk of Belichick Jr. She doesn't want any talk of she doesn't want pictures taken of them together and posted father-son. She doesn't basically, and don't treat him like any other employee, which is a weird thing for your woman to do for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an odd thing.
I could text my wife right now. I ain't coming home until 2:00 in the morning, and you better have something ready for me in my kitchen for me to eat when I get home. And she'll probably reply back something along the lines of, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Stop by Quick Trip.
Yeah. I should do that right now and just see what she says. Okay. But, my wife knows that my work life and my personal life are different, and there was no way she would ever. No, you do this with my Jay is. She wouldn't do that. And the fact that Bill Belichick's girlfriend is doing that, it gives me the creeps.
Well, it gives me the creeps. Well, but it just bothers me because to build a legacy, to be known for who you are. He walks in a room, everybody knows who he is, and he should have that mystique. It feels like with her being in charge of his media stuff, she's basically in charge of all that. And she's a difficult person. And I'm not saying she's unqualified to be a PR person, because all this stuff right now is a PR nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
But she has no experience in PRing. So that's just going to be an issue. So Pablo Torres said it's a chance that he could not coach at all for UNC because what's that?
I got a reply back from my wife.
Oh yeah.
Huh? That was it.
That was it?
Yep.
Well, right now, Bill Belichick's guarantee is $10 million, but June 1st, that guarantee turns to $1 million. So UNC could wash their hands of them.
Imagine paying Bill Belichick $1 million just to say that you were the part-time, maybe could have been coach of the Tar Heels.
Well, but they were saying Bill may want to go back to the NFL and see if there's opportunities there.
Bill was only going back to the NFL if he had a successful run in college. That was it.
He's 73, so not necessarily. It takes 2 or 3 years to build a successful program.
Oh, but, you got these college players doing 1 year and done and going to the NBA draft. Come on now.
Well, they're not 73, though.
Yeah, but Bill Belichick ain't playing. But he's a coach.
Well, yeah, but he's still got to be, standing up and stuff. I'm 35, and sometimes just standing up gets me. But yes, Bill Belichick could get let go. He could be fired. UNC basically banned his girlfriend, and then they unbanned her, but they said she's not an employee, but she's welcome to be around here. She just can't be telling people what to do in practice, which is an odd thing to have to say. And you were talking about Belichick's personality, right? That's going to get old real quick to a young lady, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting until the school renames the stadium Bill Belichick's girlfriend stadium.
No, yeah, it's very interesting. I hate that Bill Belichick and Shannon Sharp are going out like this. They, it takes away any of their leadership. Imagine if Bill Belichick was coaching and a player did this, and this was happening with the player. Like he'd say, he'd get people, he'd kick people off the team.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play Malcolm Butler probably because he blinked wrong. Still, nobody knows why he didn't play. So it's the downfall is pretty awful. I hope they can get it back, but this is a stain that cannot be unseen.
Shannon Sharp just needs to stay the hell off of Instagram.
No, he needs to stay off a lot more than that. he needs to stay off of a lot more than that
while he's off of Instagram.
Yes, he needs to get it together. But we're gonna go ahead and take a break. So, all right, well, you already gave me your opinion. I was gonna say, is it wrong, Bill Belichick dating a 20-year-old?
It's awkward.
It's awkward. There it is. Yep. That's a good word. It's awkward because what are you gonna build together? What? All right, yeah. We'll be back after this, and we'll discuss some Derek Carr or something. All right. You are back in the pocket, Sports Radio 810 WHB, and we'll spend a few minutes on this. Derek Carr retired. Shockingly, not shockingly, I guess it was a shoulder injury. He was guaranteed $30 million this year and $30 million next year, but he retired, so that takes it off the books. He's just guaranteed $10 million now. Where do you say Derek Carr is on the quarterback? Matter of fact, if he played this year, what number ranking is Derek Carr in your opinion?
28.
28?
Yep.
I'd probably give him 20. We got some bad quarterbacks out there, so I'd give him 20.
I know, and Derek Carr was one of the worst.
Well, yeah, probably yes, but yes, Derek Carr. He was with the Raiders for a long time. Then he went to the Saints, and it's been weird since he went to the Saints. Now they're gonna have a rookie to start. So, I wonder if management was saying basically, go home, buddy.
Well, with that particular injury that he had, it's a labrum tear, and those things are really difficult and notorious.
For an older fella.
Yeah. And his concern was, I can have this surgery that could fix it, but if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, I could miss all of the 2025 season.
Well, I think he was gonna. If he had the surgery, he was gonna miss it.
No,
all year.
they said he was. It was in jeopardy. So I mean, it all depends on how bad it was.
Yeah.
How much work they have to do. And they weren't going to figure that out until they actually got in there and started probing around. So if it was really bad, it could put him in jeopardy. And even then, having that surgery could not guarantee that his arm strength and accuracy would remain unaffected. So he said, I've been doing this for a while. Might as well go ahead and retire. I want to look at it like that.
And they're not going to win anything but a parade in New Orleans. So,
I saw the funniest thing.
What's that?
I saw the funniest thing. It said, the Pope, the new Pope from America,
Chicago.
Yeah, he's American Pope.
Mm-hmm.
And Saints fans have been screaming, "We need a new quarterback. We need a new quarterback." And the Pope takes the Vatican, and like 2 days later, Derek Carr retires, and they're like, "God has spoken."
I think that is how some people in New Orleans feels. It's probably how the Chiefs felt when we had Matt Castle, maybe. Like, hey, just retire, fella.
Yeah,
it's not nice. But all right.
I got to give Derek I got to give him his flowers on this. All right, man had a mediocre NFL career and still made $205 million.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say mediocre is average, huh?
He didn't even have a winning record.
Well, there's a lot of players that don't have a winning record. He's never really had a good situation. So
again, you paid him to be bad.
Well, but I don't think he was ever bad. He was just never great. I think he was always a B plus quarterback.
The highlight of his career was when he got to take that victory lap around Arrowhead in the team bus. That was his highlight of his career, because he wasn't winning anything in the playoffs. He wasn't even going anywhere near the playoffs. Man, never sniffed a Super Bowl. And the highlight of his career was a victory lap around one Arrowhead drive.
I'm trying to see Derek Carr's best moment, because that can't be his best moment. Derek Carr's tenure will be remembered by this 5, and now he wants to go slow. He had a better moment than that, right? He won some playoff games, right?
The fact that you can't think of one, says it all.
Yeah, he was in our division.
That says it all.
He
won one game in Arrowhead, did a lap around the stadium in the bus, and that's anybody will remember him for.
So you don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame?
Hell no.
Does Derek Carr have a career? Man, he doesn't have a moment. So we're spending too much time talking about Derek Carr, I think.
So
I think
again,
that's what that means.
So that means I won this round.
You probably won this round. So why didn't they draft Shador if they had a feeling Derek Carr is damaged goods? They just didn't want to deal. They didn't think he was good enough, I suppose.
There wasn't enough voodoo in that city to make him good.
All right, let's talk about the Pickens trade. What do you know about Pickens? How do you feel about Pickens?
George Pickens he's an okay receiver when he has the ball in his hands, and because when the ball is in his hands, he's caught the ball, his hands are not in the balls, and he's not punching other players. Yeah. So you have to keep his hands full, because if not, he starts beating up cornerbacks and whatnot.
Well,
I don't think he is going to ever be a threat in the NFL, but he happened to be a mid player for the Steelers. So seeing him get traded to the Cowboys, which if you know my list, let's rehash the list. The things I got no love for, the entire state of Ohio and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. So Pickens, he was their number one receiver, and he didn't have great numbers, but look who was throwing the ball for the years that he was there. George Pickens stats. I don't think he's ever had 1,000 yards.
I mean, he might have that in career total, but yeah, he didn't have like long. I don't think he's had too many 100-yard games.
So one season he had 900 yards. Oh, so he's had 1,000-yard season.
Oh.
This last season he had 900 yards, 59 catches for 900 yards.
And
2023,
And 2 fights.
2 fights. Yeah, he had 63 receptions for 1,140 yards, and his rookie year he had 52 receptions for 801 yards. So it's undeniable that he's a talented player, but in professional sports, in relationships, in everyday life,
The boxing ring.
in the boxing ring. Well, I don't know about the boxing ring, but in everyday life, it is your trouble. Does it outweigh how good you are? And I think the Steelers realize we're not going to pay this dude, so it's best to just get something for him now. And were you producing the show when DK Metcalf got traded to the Steelers? And I remember saying there's no way George Pickens comes back and he's a number 2 receiver.
I might have.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way he comes back and that thing just works. So now you have to see George Pickens in
CeeDee
Dallas with, a number 2 to CeeDee Lamb. And it's probably easier to delineate the two, say, hey, you're number 2 because we have that guy, rather than DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so what did they trade? So the Cowboys got George Pickens, and the Steelers got a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. So here's the kicker. Here's where things get kind of weird. This is George Pickens' contract year. So if he has a good year this year, and he was talking about getting paid. So if he has a good year this year, he's going to need to get paid.
What do you consider a good year?
Well, 801 yards as a rookie is a good year. 1,140 yards in the second year, that's a good year. And 900 yards this year, that's a good year. So he's had a pretty solid career so far.
So what's your bring your checkbook number?
With Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, he can get 1,000 yards, 900 to 1,000 yards. But I think if he has 800 to 1,000 yards, that is a successful trade for them. But what's going to get iffy is CeeDee Lamb is the highest paid receiver right now. So are the Cowboys going to do what bad franchises do, like the Bengals?
I'm just going to cut you off right here. Yeah, probably.
Probably. Yeah, who else are they going to pay? Well, they got other guys they need to pay. This is an awful trade when you look at it from the business standpoint.
Well, Jerry Jones is I'm going to get my players and we're going to win this year because them boys going to the Super Bowl every damn year since 1996.
Yes.
Right? They're always one player away. One player. We should get this one player, and we're going to win a Super Bowl. we're America's team. And what do? 4-12. And then they replaced that with the 5-12. Okay, they had what two playoff runs since Dak came in, and it's just nothing they ever do seems to work.
Yeah, when Jerry Jones had great people in position, they won. But then when he gets yes men or somebody that won't challenge his authority, you're not gonna win. Go figure. That
Because everybody going into the Dallas organization is being fed the mantra of "you're our guy, you're going to help us win," and it already puts stress on the players. They're under a lot of pressure going into Dallas because now they got to produce. They're in Dallas. We're supposed to win, and Dak probably going to have an off year that year. The receivers aren't going to get the ball. They're going to drop. They're going to have some drops. The running back is not. Who is their running back this year?
I don't know who their running back is right now.
And
I don't know if they brought back Zeke. I'm not expecting George Pickens to be the missing piece.
Yeah, I expect George Pickens to have a 650-yard, 4-touchdown campaign, and then he's going to complain that it didn't use him enough, and he's going to complain and whine his way into a 4-year, $36 million deal from somebody desperate enough to pay him that.
I think somebody will pay him, but I think the word is going to start getting out. If the Steelers drafted him and he's a receiver, don't touch him. Don't touch him. Martavius Bryant left the Steelers behavior issues. Antonio Brown left the Steelers behavior issue.
Antonio Brown left the entire planet with behavioral issues.
Yes, he did. Bless his heart. Who's that other guy? It was a guy, he was good for a couple years. Chase Claypool.
Mm-hmm.
Behavior problem. So, I don't know who's Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Well, yeah, but I think he should stop. Stop just drafting dudes with all these question marks. Because you can't build. You can't build when you're constantly rotating guys in and their problems. So, what I'm interested in. Here's another caveat here. Micah Parsons has been beefing with a teammate. Who was he beefing with? Micah Parsons?
I don't know, but it always seems like somebody on the Dallas team is going to be feuding with another player.
Yeah. Who was it? So he used to be DeMarcus Lawrence. He used to play for the Basically, the Cowboys aren't just some great locker room that you can bring in, say, a troubled or difficult player, and they're just going to fit in. Like, if Pickens would have came to the Chiefs, I think you have enough leadership with Patrick Mahomes, with Chris Jones, with Travis Kelce to say, hey, young fella, take it easy. That's not how we do it here.
They'd say that, but with a lot more cuss words.
A lot more cuss words and a lot more chest involved.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys, I don't believe, have that. So I think it's a good trade for the Steelers. You get something out of, a player that you're not going to keep around.
They need that consolation for whenever they're going to go 7-10 this year.
They don't go 7-10. Tomlin doesn't lose like that. He'll go 9-7. Yes. We don't know who their quarterback is, but he's been scraping by with scrape-on buys. So I'm expecting him to not be trash, but not be great.
We'll see about this time next year.
Yes, sir. We'll move on to Chiefs news, which is our super fan. We talked about it earlier.
Chiefs-aholic.
Seems like a cool fella. He seems like not a bad guy.
I saw him in the stands a few times, both when I was working security and my little sideline gig that I got now. I'd see him, front, normally kind of like right behind me, and I'm on the left side of the player's bench. So I would see the wolf costume, and I would just look at him like, dude, it's like 105 degrees out here. Are you
It's
nuts?
dedication.
Yeah, it is. It is
It's
dedication. I didn't really know who it was at all. I never really second guessed it, and then it turns out that that guy robbed banks, robbed a lot of banks, took a lot of money.
Yes, and did he rob the banks with the wolf costume on?
No, he wore a paintball mask.
Paintball mask. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a movie.
Yeah, that would have been a movie. And somebody listening to this going, man, that seems like a great idea. I'm just wearing Casey Wolf mask. Don't do that. Do not do that. That's illegal and dumb.
Yes. Question. So, was it strong arm? Did he have a gun?
He had a CO2 gun that looked like a pistol. And it turns out if you wave anything in a bank teller's face and say, give me money, they give you money.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. I'd help you get it out, to be honest, if I was a teller. But 46 years total. So he got 32 years in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They were trying to make an example.
Mm-hmm.
But he got 17 years for 11 bank robberies over.
Yeah, the federal government tagged him for 17 years. And people were upset about that. They were like, really? Only 17 years?
Well, that's about how they do it. So 32 years, the Tulsa prosecutor, they were asking for life because they were saying he abhorrent is the word that I remember. But they said the fear and the terror that he put on customers and people in there. But in my opinion, 46 years seems like a long time. I just watched the greatest diamond heist on Netflix. And it was in Europe, but it was guys trying to steal a $310 million diamond. And they got the plan got foiled, but they got like 10 years. The main guy he got like 10 years. He only had to do like 6. So I'm trying to figure out why he got 46 years, as if he went in there like with shotguns and was pistol whipping people.
Well, you have the federal charges, and then you have the civil charges.
Well, yeah,
and he pled guilty to the federal charges.
Well, yeah, but that's 17.
Yeah,
but it was 11 different
but
locations.
when you plead, that's how they get you to plead is. They say, Covell, we have charged you with this crime. Here's the evidence that we have against you. Now, you can either go to court and get 50, 60, 70 plus years, or you can say, I plead guilty, and you only have to serve a fraction of that. And he looked at it like, okay, this is the federal charges.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, all right. I'll plead guilty. So nothing he ever did made it to court.
Well, yeah, I know, but 17 years seems about the going rate.
Yeah, but on the civil case, the states can do whatever they want. They're not the federal government, so they were pushing towards the life.
Which seems wild. Seems like you can rehabilitate from bank robbing. Would you say?
I don't know. I've never robbed a bank.
Me neither. But it seems like you could stop if you get out of jail in 10 years.
If you go to jail, you immediately stop robbing banks.
Well, yeah, it seems like 10 years would be enough for me to not want to rob a bank again. You don't have to put me in there for 46 years.
Well, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Well, that's why I don't do the crime. I figured that out. Yeah.
There you go.
I used to tell friends or whatever, don't do anything around me. Because
I will forget your name and how to speak English.
Yeah, I pay taxes, so for the most part. But yes, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back after.
Robert, we're gonna talk about this some more.
If you want to,
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Back in the pocket, Sports Radio 810 WHB, and we are crossing third base. Would you say?
Rounding.
Rounding. I knew it was we're rounding third base. About done with this show. You said you have some more Chiefsaholic?
Yes. All right. So you're wondering why he only got 17 and a half years.
No, I'm wondering why he got 17 plus 36.
Okay. So the 17 years that he got was the federal charges, and those,
no, I know,
but those were money laundering, transporting stolen property across state lines, and bank robbery. Okay, so that's what that was. Those were the federal offenses. He pled guilty in Oklahoma to robbery with a firearm, assault while masked or disguised, and removing an electronic monitoring device in connection with his December 16th armed robbery of the Tulsa Teacher Credit Union. So a lot of that, he got hit with, 2 different sentences for a slew of different charges. And that's why, and the ankle monitoring thing, that was the big one right there, because that made a lot of people angry, like the bounty hunters that were after him, because they're the ones that put up his bond. So,
oh yeah, because he took off his
monitor. After he won a $100,000 bet on a Chiefs game, cut his ankle monitor up and disappeared. So they found him in California, of all places.
2025 is hard to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's where's non-extradition laws? Some little weird places that you can't just go.
Yeah. So but
you know what?
His downfall was his
fandom.
Yeah, his patronage of the city. Like, I love going to other places and wearing Chiefs stuff. The last time I went to visit my in-laws in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
I had Chiefs everything on. I had both Super Bowl rings on, and it was really weird because people were trying to talk to me about the Chiefs like I didn't already know.
Well, Jacksonville seems like a safe place to go in full Chiefs regalia.
No.
Not
I went to Buffalo, New York before the AFC Championship game and flew home in a Chiefs jersey. I love representing the team. I love representing the city.
Yeah.
But if I'm on the run from everybody, I'm a Raiders fan.
Yeah, I guess he would have. Yeah, he would have filled in a little bit better if he was wearing some. So he was out there wearing Chief stuff?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is he kept putting money on the Chiefs. He kept doing all that.
Well, you do what you know, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know what? Oklahoma, I feel like he got some of that blowback from that Bonnie and Clyde era. They're like, we don't allow bank robberies at all here, or something. But yeah, 46 years when he gets out, you think he's still a Chiefs fan?
I don't think he makes it the whole 46.
He's only 30. He didn't have any violent crimes with.
Yes, but you have to understand, a lot of people that do stuff like this, they get the finality of their jail sentence. Oh, they're not doing all that. No.
Also, you don't think the rehabilitation process is going to rehabilitate?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
That's fair. What else we got here?
So, NFL schedule comes out tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, the Chiefs play on Christmas.
Yeah.
We know that so far.
Yeah.
And tomorrow from 6 till 7, Jack Johnson and I believe Sterling Holmes is going to do a special schedule show about the schedule release.
Yeah.
Awful promo, but I tried to do a good job of it there. But
and you failed.
Yeah, probably failed a little bit. All right. Let's end these last few minutes. Let's talk about the Chiefs, Jay. Are you expecting the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl again this year?
I think to make a pretty good run for it. I see them winning the division. I don't see any major injuries this year. I hope not.
Got all that out the way.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, everybody's talking about. Oh yeah, Buffalo secondary is scary, and the Eagles brought everybody back, and Joe Burrow is on his revenge tour again. But I don't. Again, like I said last year, I don't see anybody that can beat us, that can take the division. I think some bad luck happens in the AFC Championship game. So that's my prediction. I'm not gonna say something outlandish like Chiefs gonna be 17-0 Super Bowl champions.
Is that me? Is that
was you?
Who that is?
That was you.
And we were very close. Only lost twice.
Yeah, but the last one was the kicker.
The last one was the kicker.
Yeah.
Not to mention kickers. No, that's the Ravens. Well, the Super Bowl odds right now are Philly at plus 650, Kansas City 800, Ravens 700, Bills 750.
I don't get the Baltimore hype. I don't understand why every year they're the team to beat in the AFC.
Well, I believe it is attributed to having a young star quarterback, because usually in the NFL, you take Patrick Mahomes out of it. Usually the NFL, you're supposed to come in. Peyton Manning didn't win his Super Bowl until he was 7th or 8th year. So usually Josh Allen still hasn't won his. So I can see how Josh Allen's always on there. The Ravens are always on there because you expect – because Patrick's not going to win every year. So you expect wow, what's Ravens quarterback? Jesus.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. You would just expect him to win one if he plays 12 years. And the odds, the odds makers are always, they're trying to be ahead and catch it. So that's what I believe the Ravens' love is.
Who's your dark horse team this year?
Dark horse team in the NFL? Let me get my eyes on all these teams real quick. Dark horse team. I mean, I'd say Washington Commanders. They showed a lot with the rookie quarterback. I'd say they're and they got didn't they get another receiver?
Yeah.
Dark horse. Let me go down the list. Bills, they can't be a dark horse. Dolphins are going to be bad. Patriots bad. Jets bad. AFC East out of there. Dallas Cowboys, no. Giants, no. Eagles, Commanders, North. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers.
The entire NFC South should just sit this one out. They are that entire division is terrible.
Atlanta, Carolina, Saints. Atlanta could be okay. If Penix is good, they could be all right. But I couldn't name them my dark horse. Man, I don't have a dark horse, man. I'm gonna have to
go home and get you a dark horse.
Yes, because I said it had to be the Commanders, but they had such a good end of the season. I don't know if you can put them as a dark horse.
Well, I mean, everybody expects when you think Washington football, you think RG3 and that spectacular run that he had, and then his big injury where he just wasn't quite the same.
Well,
yeah.
Daniels has
everybody wants that. But they want this new guy to just come in and be what RG3 wasn't.
Well, I mean, yes, but RG3 had question marks coming out of college as far as him being a leader of men, as far as him being somebody that you can give the keys to. Daniels doesn't have any of that. So yeah, and what was it? RG3 got hurt as a rookie. They said, hey, you shouldn't go back in. You shouldn't try to play, but he wanted to play. And then that next year, he came back and said, I'm not running anymore. I'm going to play like Peyton Manning. And that was the end of his career. So I'm not expecting that to be the same. Vikings, who they got at quarterback? They didn't sign Darnold, did they?
No.
Oh, their rookie that got hurt. They're not going to be my dark horse. Vikings are going to fall off. They're not going to have another great year. Next week, I'm going to have a dark horse for you because right now, I don't see a lot of maybe the Browns. Shedeur Sanders gets the start, and then he takes them to the playoffs. That'd be a great story. Don't you F8 that. No, that's not a prediction. That is not a prediction. I don't have time to go into a whole nother subject. So this is some filibuster here.
No, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is gonna have a huge impact on Cleveland because I don't think he sees the field at all unless it is extreme mop-up duty or the first two quarterbacks and whoever they tried to fill in before Shedeur.
But it's very possible because have you seen their quarterback room?
Yes, it's the same as it was the past 14, 15 years.
What you mean?
It's a hot mess.
Well, I mean, yes, but they, let's see. They have old man Flacco.
Uh-huh.
They have Flacco. I'm not going to know all these guys. So we're here. They have Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, that they picked up in, I think, the second round or third round. But he had like a fifth or sixth round grade, but they gushed over how good a guy he was. They have Kenny Pickett, who couldn't win in Pittsburgh.
Because he ain't got the hands.
He has tiny hands. He has
Tiny
the hands.
hands.
Tiny. Did you see the picture they had him and Joe Flacco working out?
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny Pickett's hands barely went around the football?
Yep.
It's kind of embarrassing. You have Deshaun Watson. He may be donezo. Yeah, he may be done. Shedeur Sanders has a chance. Joe Flacco's old. Dylan Gabriel's not that good. Kenny Pickett is not good. Deshaun Watson, his reputation and his game hasn't been good. So he has probably a 40% chance of starting, which is wild.
And he's not going to be good.
He could be all right. He could be better than Manziel. But that wraps up the show. It's not saying much, huh? But that wraps up the show. Sports Radio 810 WHB. This is In the Pocket with Covell Hudson. And we have
Jay Powers.
And we will be back next week. I'm going to give you my dark horse for the season. And we will discuss more of the Chiefs. I plan on, I'm going to put my ear to the streets and see what's really happening. Follow me, Covell Hudson, on Twitter. Covell Hudson Comedy on YouTube.
We'll see you next week.
Facebook, too, I guess. Yes, we'll see you next week. We're out of here.